31, sorry. Today is Monday, February 27th, 2023. We are at the Oldham County Board of Education meeting at the Arvin Education Center in LaGrange, Kentucky. I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I'm calling the meeting to order. Sir, do you have any changes to the agenda?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. D, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, sir, I see the first thing on our list is an instructional session on CTE.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to invite Dr. Smith to come forward, and he's going to share with you about our career and technical education pathways and make some introductions.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Redford presented us with a very exciting challenge this last summer and into the fall, which was help connect all of the students in our county, help connect their passions to a pathway. We formed a CTE work group, and we have all of the high school principals of all of our comprehensive high schools, as well as Mr. Hunsaker at the elementary level, Mr. Reed and Mr. McWilliams for our academies, and as well as representation from Arvin and other places, all together to talk about what we could do to make sure that the pathways are meeting the interests of students. We surveyed all of our students, we looked at some data from students, and we got together as a group, and each of our high school principals then went back to their buildings, looked at their data, and have proposed pathways which they're making available to students right now. So what we're going to do for this session is to invite each of our high school principals to come up and share with you what their data told them, the pathways that they're creating, and you'll see some of the marketing materials and other things that they've put together. So Jane, I believe we're starting with Arvin. So Mr. Watson.
Good afternoon. We're glad you're here at Arvin. Welcome. Certainly excited to tell you a little bit more about Arvin. As you know, we were here just a month ago and gave you a pretty intensive report as the instructional session. So I'm going to try to speed through this and just keep it very condensed. But the slide that you're currently looking at tells you how many kids are in each program right now. All right, so not necessarily applications at the beginning of the year or anything like that, but that is current numbers of kids who are at the Arvin Center taking those pathways. I'm not going to go through each one of those. You can read about them, and I'm happy to give you guys an opportunity for questions. All right, if you go to the next one, please. So these are our pathway flyers that we worked on this year, trying to increase our vision or opportunities for kids to be able to get quick access, and also parents and families to get quick access. You'll notice at many of our places you'll see posters around now, even here at Arvin, for kids to get more information, because we now are serving over 1,000 students. And there's no way once they start high school to get them back to Arvin and let them see things. So we do our 8th grade transition visits, and then after that it's how do you keep that message out, right? And when you make changes or when you add something to a pathway, how do you get that information? So that's what the flyers are also for, along with getting them out in the community, being put on social media, into the high schools and those kind of things. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so as of today, which we submitted those a week ago, 2/17, there was 1,058 applications for next year. The number that I just pulled off the computer before we started was 1,131 applications for next year. We're sitting way ahead. So we will sit with the high school counselors over the next couple weeks, and we will do what we call draft day. We let every single kid come to the Arvin Center. The only prerequisite is for engineering. We ask that the kids have Algebra 1 done before they start engineering. If they don't have that, then we want them to go to their home high school, have a great freshman year, take Algebra 1, and then come to us for engineering in their second year as a sophomore. But everything else, there's no prerequisite. We have pathways that we want them to start at different times, and all that's advertised with our website, that kind of stuff. So to see over 1,100 students applying for next year is a wonderful problem to have. And we'll keep wanting those applications to come in, and we will figure out how to hand schedule each of those kids with our high school counselors over the next couple of weeks and get them all in if we can.
Can I ask a question, Matt?
Yes.
I see this year you said you have 848 students. How many applications did you have? Like, what what would we expect to be the fall off from the number of applications versus how many are actually enrolled?
Yes, so that 848 does not include a couple programs. That doesn't have YATP and some other students who are here at Arvin. We're usually about 1,030 to 1,050 students this year, depending on a few things at points in time. We were about 150 applications short last year at this time. So when the counselors came with, when kids put it all into Infinite Campus as scheduling, then all of a sudden we compared it to our applications and we did not have as many applications as they had kid requests. That's usually the problem every single year. It's a good problem to have, and we look at those kids and say, how do we, but it's generating a master schedule for us before budget, before staffing, and telling folks where we're going, right? So we either hit it just right this year where 1,100 kids put in applications and we're going to be looking at about 1,100 kids, or we've got a big thing coming from the high schools when they get it all into Infinite Campus and it comes back to us as cleaned up, student requests. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can't answer it right this minute.
No, that's great.
We've been anywhere from 100 to 150 short on applications. So we'll see where we go this year.
Okay, thanks.
I got one question.
Yes.
I see something down there called Coming Soon.
Yes.
The size of the center, how many more of these different subjects can you add to the center?
Yeah, so with the high schools doing a lot of work this year on the CTE pathways in their own buildings, those of you who know me know that Arvin is not someplace that we've hit pause button at any point in time. And I'm just not a pause person. I am opportunities for kids every single year. How do we make those adjustments? But we needed a pause as we surveyed our kids and found out what the high schools were going to start. So as soon as we found out what they were starting, that they're going to report, I don't want to steal their thunder and take that, but we found out that the items on that Coming Soon, we could go ahead and adjust a couple things in our curriculum and our pathways lines, and then we could expand what we offer. All right, so let me give you, for instance, when you look and you see dental assisting on there, our Health Science Core 4, which is 4 classes you take usually as a junior, the next year, the state has an opportunity for those kids to go into an internship at a dental location. That's the entire piece of the curriculum, which I'm not extremely excited about. It's something that we're going to start with, and then I'm going to talk to our industry people and say, what can we teach in the class? Like, there's things they're supposed to do in the internship, but it's not like any of the other internships that we did. So if we have kids in our community who are interested in dental assisting, we wanted to get that out, that the kids could take the first year with us, and then we are building that internship, right? The state has it. I don't think it's enough. It's not what we've come to own at Arvin for what students deserve as an internship, and you heard our kids speak to that. So we need to do some work on that with the state, or just say, great, that's what the state has it as, now this is what Arvin's going to have for Oldham County kids. Okay, so those are the things that are coming soon that we've been working on, trying to adjust what we're currently offering to offer more without a cost. That's my last slide, I think. Yep. So, other questions, or I'll move away.
Super excited about the pharmacy technician. Anyone that's had to have a prescription filled anytime soon will be thrilled about that.
Yes. That will be 15 college hours that the kids will be able to get with JCTC, and they'll leave us with a pharmacy technician credential. With opportunities that we're working on right now with Baptist Health in LaGrange, because when they build the new hospital in Crestwood, they're going to need over 200 people tied to the pharmaceutical industry. And so we think that's a great thing. If we start now prepping those kids, I think we have one kid interested right now, right? So like it's going to have to be a build thing, and our community is going to have to say that they want it. But if our community says they want it, we want to be ready to have it.
We'll also want to talk to my kids, Matt.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. That's as Mr. McWilliams is coming up, that's a great community connection to support our community and Baptist with that partnership, so thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Wanted to first say that Mr. Jamie Reed, our principal, couldn't be here today. Really regrets and sad he can't be here, but I'm filling in for him. He put a tremendous amount of time, getting ready for things, and does a great job for us, and was prepared to give the presentation, but has some emergency dental work, so I'm here for you. I want to go ahead and start with some stats about our new Creative Performing Arts Academy. You can see from the slides that as of today, we've got 47 students that are scheduled for auditions into our pathways, which is a phenomenal number. Current enrollment, we're at 87 students, so that represents a 25% growth from what we had the year previously. We are anticipating, though, based on our auditions and the students that are remaining with us, we're only graduating 10 seniors, we are going to get to our capacity next year at about 125 students. And that's wonderful for us. That number doesn't compare to Arvin, of course, but I want you to know that the essential cap on Kappa has to do with our facilities. The Art Center has been a tremendous facility for the district for a number of years. It still continues to be so. It lends itself much better to our pre-professional afternoon classes that have much smaller groups and focus groups. But from a Kappa perspective, in our larger class sizes, we really only have 4 adequate rooms in the whole facility for those larger classes. We rotate them in between focus groups. When you look at those core classes, that's really what represents our cap. So moving forward with the possibility of new facilities, sky is really the limit for what Kappa can provide students. We have tremendous interest for our students in these pathways. There are many more offerings that we can offer to the school district, and we've been working on that as part of a 3 to 5 year plan, so hopefully we'll be able to move forward in the future. But one of the really creative things we're able to do with our limited space, that third bullet point is looking at taking acting classes to South and North High for next year, essentially satellite Kappa classes. Sky's kind of the limit for that type of thing too over the next more interim period of years. There has been, again, that polling, there's shown a need for the type of acting focus that South and North can benefit from. Right now there's a bit of a lag in that type of offering at the high school level. So we're going to go and we're going to take a part-time Kappa teacher there to go ahead and do that, and that's a really minimal cost to the school district, and the high schools themselves don't have to invest in a full-time teacher that can start to cover those costs. So very innovative way of doing it. OC's not on there just because they have a really, really thriving drama department, and they're just doing fantastic. So those students are really, really well served. So next slide. And then on to our existing pathways. Musical theater pathway, we're providing musical theater students with that type of specific repertoire. Jazz tap, music theory, acting to those students as well. They're all auditioning for college positions, and professional positions as well. Essentially, that focus area represents the gaps and the voids that are in the school district. That type of musical theater training doesn't exist anywhere but the Art Center, and we have tons of students that want to be doing that type of pathway. Typically, those students, if they didn't have Kappa, would be trained maybe in a choir setting, which isn't the same type of repertoire or solo rep. Definitely it doesn't involve any dance or acting, so this is a really, really great benefit for our students to get that type of experience. Our string orchestra pathway, again, that's a void in the school district. There is no string instrument training anywhere in the district except through the Art Center, through satellite programs at our elementary schools, and then after school we have our campus orchestras. All those feed Kappa. So the string orchestra is a fantastic pathway because we really have intermediate, more beginner students that have come up through those, and we're providing an opportunity for them, all the way through very, very advanced students that are really on a pre-professional pathway. And because that orchestra setting, we're able to provide for all those students and do really differentiated groups with them. So that's been a fantastic addition. Same thing with our technical theater pathway. It sounds like a broken record, but again, this is a void, and that's what the Art Center really prides ourselves in this development of Kappa, is that we're starting initially with filling these gaps in the school district and offering courses that are in concert with the school district and not in competition with anything else that our visual performing arts groups are doing. Technical theater represents that as well. Right now, students only really have an opportunity to do that on an after-school basis if they happen to be working behind the scenes for one of their shows and they're getting hands-on training, but that's kind of on the fly. We go really in-depth into all those different elements, and that's one of the things I'm really proud about Kappa for, is that those students are able to do that coursework during the school day, get those highly technical skills, go back then to their home high school and put on really high quality shows and other events for their school. So that's been a fantastic byproduct with that. And then our visual arts pathway, that's brand new this school year. That has a 3D emphasis. Again, these are gaps in the school district. So our high schools all have very well-developed prerequisites, which are your Art 1 and your Art 2 classes. And then that goes into AP coursework. So they have phenomenal upper-level AP. They have a lot of elective art classes that are in the in-between stages, and those can be all across the board. They're wonderful classes, but what Kappa serves to do is to take a very specific art form, go very in-depth and rigorous in that art form and essentially treat that as a career pathway. So for students to get this type of in-depth, rigorous work in the 3D art forms is a real career pathway now for them. I think within that elective art form, we're going to be able to have a lot more pathways in the future for Kappa as well. So those are our slide decks. I just wanted to add a couple other things since, you know, our career and technical pathways, they're not traditionally recognized with the state. They're quite different. However, our students through our pathways are really ensured that they're getting that type of training because of what is our performance-based core. We're able to combine top arts pedagogy with really unparalleled performing and art opportunities for these students. That's what we're all about. And that together produces really superb technical and creative outcomes for our students. So just a couple of things that we're offering along those lines to all Kappa students, really an unheard of number of performances. All our Kappa students perform full productions and concerts at least 4 times a year. One of them is a culminating gala performance we'll have at the end of the school year. All of those courses also have audition structures built in to differentiate with students, so they're able to provide solo opportunities for the students, leadership roles within those focus areas, so that's been a big part of what we do as well. Our string orchestra alone, all of the students do the Kentucky Music Educators Association assessments. Last spring, every one of our Kappa students that did solo chamber music and orchestra, every one of them in all their performances scored a distinguished rating, which is the top rating. And I was told that this was the first time in our region that any school has had all distinguished ratings from every single student from particular schools. So that was phenomenal. Our select students perform in all state solo concerto competitions, as well as visiting artist master classes. 7 of our 8 students this year that auditioned for All-State made All-State Orchestra, so that's a phenomenal number as well. Our musical theater and technical theater students, just really quickly, every single one of them performed or did technical assistance in at least one art center or home high school production this past spring and fall. And that's exactly what we want, is that they're going back to their home schools and they're really contributing that way. So that's been phenomenal as well. Our 3D art students are on a real roll. I'll go real quick here, but beyond their shows that they've been doing at the Art Center, they just got invited to be part of the juried Arts on the Green show in June. They've also been invited to Gallery 104 this summer to put on their own professional art show with their own gallery sales, so they'll be able to sell their student artwork at the gallery as well. So real quick to wrap it up, 71, you look at other supports that we have for these students, because they're true pre-professionals in what we're doing. 71 of those 87 students that we have currently are all taking additional Art Center classes, so this is really boosting what they're doing. That's about 82% of our students. And then what we look at with our seniors, last year we had 10 graduates, this year we have 9. That will actually expand exponentially. It doesn't seem like a large number of seniors, but when we first started Kappa, we had many more freshmen and sophomores that entered instead of juniors and seniors that came in halfway into a focus area. So that number is going to increase exponentially. But last year, of our 10 graduating seniors, 8 of them are now performing arts majors in college. 1 is a professional actor, and 1 is teaching English in Guatemala, which is absolutely fantastic too. Of the current seniors right now, we're on track with those 9. 6 of them have already been accepted as visual and performing arts majors in college. 1 of them for architecture, 1 cybersecurity. They're going to be minors in their art form. 1 is taking a gap year to study further, take auditions, and also audition for college in the future. So I really appreciate your time. Definitely open up any questions. I definitely want to say, though, especially since the Art Center are not true, recognized career and technical pathways, I really appreciate Dr. Radford's vision in including us, and Dr. Smith in including us in these career pathways, and part of really going ahead and marketing as part of a whole school district package. I mean, it's really going to help benefit Kappa to have the exposure in the district package and for our students. So I really, really appreciate their work with us.
So, Mr. McWilliams, thank you for sharing that. I just share with our board, as part of the work that we've also done is trying to really work on the vision that we have for Kappa that's also connected to the Arts Center and the communities we think ahead. District facility planning is on there for a new Performing Arts Center. The board's not taking any action, not making recommendations on that, but kind of looking at the vision that we have of where we want that to be, what does that look like. That also can kind of speak to what design and how that looks as we think about facility perspective. Mr. McWilliams, one quick question.
Yeah.
Could you share with the board just to estimate it? I don't want to, just to estimate a number. At 4 o'clock, the Arts Center really kind of comes to life, Kappa. The Arts Center. Can you just talk about the number of kiddos that are in the Arts Center, just a high-level number, estimated number of
Oh, yeah,
kids?
we've got over 1,100 right now enrolled students. So individual students, 1,100 weekly that come through. So it's a huge number that we have. And again, the facility accommodates that now, but we can grow even exponentially with Art Center students as well.
Thank you. And the reason I asked him to share that with our board is that not just Kappa, but also the Arts Center, that we're having a large number of students that benefit from that current facility.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Wallace?
Good afternoon. This is North Alton High School's 20th year, and for most, if not all that time, we've tried to start a business pathway on 2 different occasions. It never really went past 1 year, and so what we are excited about and hoping really does happen is 2 pathways we're going to start for next year. They stick and they stay. And so the first one is teaching and learning. It's not only a CTE pathway, but it's also dual credit. It's partnered with U of L, so students are also earning 6 hours of college credit, 3 for each semester. This one's kind of near and dear to my heart. For a couple of reasons. Obviously, as an educator, this is really important in the time when we're hurting to get people to enter the profession. But also, our daughter, who's this was not a pathway 4 years ago when she was a senior at North. It was a standalone dual credit class, but she took it as a senior at North, went down to Harmony, went to North Middle, did some observations, and right now she's doing her student teaching at UK. So excited about that. So get more and more people, young people into teaching and learning. So the second one. Okay, sorry. The second one is graphic design. This is a natural fit for us. Students coming from North Middle have a lot of them enter with a ton of experience in this, with the Innovation Lab next door to us, with us having one feeder middle school, with the emphasis that Jenna and her staff has put on this. We have students that are coming to us pretty hungry to continue a deeper dive into graphic design. And we do have a teacher on staff right now that this is kind of his area of expertise. And so we're excited about getting this one started off the ground. We've had some classes in the past that really do kind of fit some of the descriptions, but we've never really called them this. We've never really kind of spoken it into a pathway, so to speak. So this one will be, I think, a fairly smooth transition. And so we're excited about both of these. So it's new for us. So, looking forward to it.
Any questions?
Thanks.
Good evening. While at OCHS, we're going to do kind of a mixture of things. We're going to take what we have and grow it, and then we are also going to add a couple new pathways. So here's just a quick overview. We currently offer 2 strands in the Ag pathway, the Ag Power Structures and Technical Systems, and then we also have horticulture and plant science. Next we have business, specifically accounting, and what we're really going to focus on growing is cinematography and video production. We've got kids that are really excited about that. And then we're thrilled to also offer the teaching and learning pathway. You'll hear this called the Grow Your Own program, and we're really hoping that we can attract young folks into our profession. Okay, so for the Ag Power Structures and Technical Systems, this is like the application of concepts for the engineering, hydraulics, pneumatics, electronics, power structures, and controls in the field of agriculture. So students will actually design structures, machinery, and equipment, and that's something that we feel is vitally important in our community. All right, and then the horticulture and plant science, this is where you'll see the greenhouse at the high school. We do lots of plants, we grow things, we sell them as fundraisers, but this is all about the scientific principles of the pathway, the breeding, cultivation, production of agricultural plants. There are many different classes offered. Most of our kids take kind of a mixture of both those Ag pathway classes. Our accounting pathway is one we offer, but we want to grow this one and make it more beneficial for our students in the community. Anything related to business, the accounting or tasks required, the instruction for accounting principles and theories, the financial accounting, managerial accounting, cost accounting. Just trying to connect our kids who are interested in business to some real experiences that will either help them choose that pathway or move to something different. Okay, and the cinematography and video production, this one is one that has historically struggled a bit getting off the ground at OC. We've got 2 teachers working this year trying to really get it off the ground. Our kids do an awesome program each week called OTVX. Fantastic. The kids are really invested in it. They do a quality program for all of our students. So we really want to expand that and give them different opportunities. And then also in the media arts, they're doing graphic design. They're doing little mini productions. Theoretically, we're going to include some podcasting stuff into that too. So lots of different opportunities for our kids on this front. And then finally, we are going to expand. We technically have 2 classes now, but they're, like Craig was saying, standalone classes. This teaching and learning pathway, I think, is going to be really important. We've actually visited a couple schools to see their teaching and learning program and how they recruit, how they market their kids, because sometimes that's not the most exciting pathway for kids, but we found there's lots of ways you can kind of lure them in and talk about public speaking and different opportunities that we can give to kids to get them excited about being in front. We've got a big vision for how this will help with even tutoring in our school, help supporting some of our students that need additional help, which is something that's very important to all of us. This is what we've got. We're excited.
Mr. Wallace, Dr. Brown, thank you both for presenting. I just share with our board just real quick what is coming up is our high school principals and district folks have worked well together to look at what student interests are as we think about connecting a student's passion to a pathway. So really appreciate the work that's gone into all this.
Good evening. Okay, so go ahead and go to the next slide. These are the 4 current options that we have had for a couple of years now. And we have a thriving FCS program, and when I say FCS, I'm kind of encompassing all 4 of the slides right here. But I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about just some neat facts about each one of them. The facts class, which is the one that says awesome on it, that's probably the one that we have the most participants in. And we have 2 of our teachers are former grads, and one of my assistant principals is a former facts teacher, which is pretty cool stuff. So it's a great program, great opportunities for kids, and they are known across the state. I mean, they rank in the state every year, and so it's always something that we're super excited about to continue to share that program. Food science and dietetics is another branch of that, and it tells you in each one of the slides, if you all ever want to look further, that there's QR codes. And it explains and also has videos for each one of them, which the district helped us with, which was fantastic. And then we have early childhood education. This is one that kind of wanes every year. Sometimes we have a group that comes through and wants to go through this. This would be the group that wants to do preschool and go into earlier grades before teaching. So the last one is fashion. And we actually have had some big names come from the school in the fashion industry. And so this is one also that every other year, usually we have enough classes to take. Out of those 4, we have about 30% of our students take one of those, or all of them. It's about 280 students for next year, which is a little bit down, but considering that we're offering some other things and we still have a very, very healthy population of students that come over to Arvin Center. Now let's go to the next slide, which are the ones that we're super, super excited about because it's built off student feedback, just as all the former principals up here have said, is that we want to have classes that they want. And South has always been very, very responsive to those needs. So we have had teaching and learning before, but it's not here this year. So we want to bring it back. And really excited. We have several teachers that are wanting to do this, and they're new teachers, which brings a new energy to it. And also, if you think about it, just since I've been at South, which I'm on year 9, we have had 4 Excel winners come from our school. And so we have a group of phenomenal teachers, and so we're excited that there's a new energy surrounding this. And about 20% of our staff has taught at the college level, which is interesting as well. So prior to coming to us as back into a high school classroom, they were at the college level. And then, let's post it. Pre-law is the next one I'm going to talk about. So we have a former lawyer and also a former policeman that is going to build this pathway for us, which we're excited about that new opportunity, being able to tap into the talents of our staff that we have, and them really to share their life experience in these careers. So that's going to be a new one. We have always had like a law dual credit, but this one's going to be built into a pathway that they can go and branch off into and earn dual credit as well. That's another big important piece to this, is they can earn college credit. Okay, graphic design. I think this one was our number one. And we have a brand new teacher that his background is actually graphic design. A lot of times it's general art when you get a new teacher to the art field, but he has this, and he went and visited one of the schools that we got to go visit in Scott County. And so this field, just as some of the other principals were talking, is just, it's out there, and it's for kids to grab a hold of, and wonderful opportunities all across. I mean, just whether it's cinematography, linked to graphic design, all of that is great options for students. And then our last one, which is probably the most bold, is welding. Excuse me. And we actually had more sign up for that than we did any of them. And I'll tell you numbers here in just a second. But this is a big deal. We are getting ready to turn our old shop back into a weld shop, and we've been to probably 3 or 4 schools, myself and a team with Mr. Bohannon, and pretty darn cool. Coming from my dad's a welder by trade, and to know that, you know, the trades are that important and something that he's dedicated his life to, and that we've got kids, I mean, asking for it. So we've got we could probably have 3 or 4 sections of it, just opening it up next year, which is a big deal. So we had about 56 kids for that. And we have, for all of our new pathways, so all the 4 up here, about 15% of our population sign up for that. So if you think about the sheer number, we probably have about 45 that come to Arvin, and then 15 into these new pathways. And what was the percentage? Was it 30? That was a minute ago. Going into the current ones, that's a lot. That's a lot of kids getting a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances to be able to earn college credit while in school, which is phenomenal. My son's been one of those. So we like to have programs that kids can be successful and also, you know, make their mark. So we'll be looking at a lot of internship opportunities and stuff as these begin to build their junior and senior year, getting them out, getting them into the field. So what questions do you have?
That's the question I just asked, was the co-op opportunities, but you just answered that. Are we building you a courtroom too with the welding facility?
I wish. Have you seen the courtroom?
I've seen them in the schools, and they're real interactive.
And my teachers would love that. We'll take one thing at a time. But yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. But being able to have a partnership with the core system and being able to have those kids get out and work with, you know, our core system right here is an untouched opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you all for presenting so much and for offering these opportunities to our kids. I will say it is great to have the opportunity to get some college credits under your belt before you get there. And I think also a piece that some people miss is it's also nice to let your kids dabble in this in high school when you don't have a lot of money invested in it, as far as, you know, when they get to college and you're paying for classes. It's also nice to let them see what they like and don't like when they're in high school and get a taste of each of these. And I know that we are serving such a huge population of our high school kids, and it is all of the programs are great. I'm super excited about all of the new things that our kids are being offered. And thank you all for taking the time to go visit places and put new programs in your schools and listen to what your kids want, because that's, at the end of the day, we are all serving our kids. And being able to provide them the topics of interest to them means everything. So thank you all so much for that. Next, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Hunley. And thank you again, principals, for presenting that. Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Shelton to come forward and share with the board the treasurer's report and also bills and claims.
Thank you and good evening. It's always great to hear what's going on in your schools, and I'm so proud and honored to get to be working with this district and see all the wonderful things that are happening for students. I'd like to share with you, starting off with the summary that you're used to seeing in this format. It has a breakdown of the balance as well as the corresponding receipts and disbursements by each fund. You can see those numbers. I won't read those off to you. Also, we have listed there the bonded construction funds, which are those remaining bond projects, and the investments. As you can see there, the interest is starting to pick up on those, and we have a strong ending balance in our investment account. But what I really like to focus your attention to is actually the third page. If we could, Jane, down two more, one more. I wanted to highlight the historical actuals comparison. This is, as we do regularly share with you, kind of where we are on selected accounts. In particular, looking at the revenues that we have, and they are all still coming in strong. We had another strong month of tax receipts for the month of January. Those will start to wane off, of course, as most people have paid their property taxes by this point. But we're well on track for our budget there. Our salaries and benefits are tracking well against the budget, as you can see reported there, as are the remainder of our expenses. You have detail of the tax receipts listed down just below that, as well as the receipts for our capital outlay fund and our building fund. As I know you'll be getting ready to talk about some of the projects that we have upcoming here very soon. Following that page, you get into the system-generated munis reports with all of the detail, and I won't read through those. I know you've had those for your review. And then following that, you have the balance sheet with the report on there that has each individual account attached to it. I would recommend this report to your approval, but before so, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Anyone have any questions on the actual treasurer's report? Is there a recommendation?
Approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, sir.
You have the next following item is the bills and claims for the month, and this is the summary that you have here on the front sheet. And as you know, you have all of the corresponding detail that follows behind that you've had a chance for review. You can see we have a total of 2,000 invoices for a total of about $9.4 million of bills that we were asking for approval. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about specific invoices.
Mr. Dennis?
Can you explain the smoker and the trailer, or maybe Mr. D's? I don't know anything about it, but $100,000.
Yeah, so food service went out and visited some other school districts around this country, and they have a mobile smoker on a trailer system. It's the same one that they have at Doc Crow's, and they're going to use it, and they're going to travel around with it to different schools, and they're going to have barbecue weeks at schools, and so they bought a pit smoker to use some of the resources instead of buying ovens at every school. They're going to travel around and do that as part of it. So it's through the food service program.
But didn't they discontinue like serving, like they used to do hams and turkeys? They stopped all that. Is it okay now to do barbecue? like for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving?
So if they could get it, they would do it. So they're, I mean, we tried it, they sampled it the other day on that piece of it, just to try to see how it would go. And other districts have actually started, then they can contract and do catering out of that as well for after-school events and so forth.
And
As long as they can get the meat in, they'll do it, they can get it, through different programs. I can get Miss Lloyd to put together some stuff for you.
No, I was curious about it. I saw it, I was kind of shocked,
Yeah,
honestly.
no, the students have asked for different food and better quality food, and this is one way to bring it. So,
Yeah, well, that's one of my big hearts is I think the food in the schools are bad. So, and I know you disagree, but.
Well, I think from our food service is a federally funded program, so we have certain regulations and guidelines that our food service has to follow in order to maintain that level of service. If we did not do that, then we would not be able to sustain, because our food service can sustain the experiences in the food. For example, like the smoker, what you're talking about with the question, Mr. Dees, appreciate that question, but our food service can sustain that and that not impact our general fund.
I understand that. However, it's quality control, and I still think we try to get a better product out, which
I think it's
may be the barbecue.
Yeah, sure.
So, I do have another one that was probably for you, Mr. Efron. I just got a question on the travel. Like Oldham County High School put in for Leaders Summit, $16,000 this year. Year two's $33,000. I believe they did Character Strong, which was about $10,000, whatever it was. Do we know if that's grant-based paid or district funds? And if it is district funds, I go back to is there a way to get away from paying for like Character Strong and incorporating that into SEL with our own people creating it instead of sending staff out?
Yes, so I think the travel, a lot of times travel, without looking specifically, I appreciate the question. A lot of times our schools will have monies that are allocated to them from the board, and so then the SBDM can help. And the principal has discretion to be able to use those funds to be able to have staff attend something in the state of Kentucky or within the region. And then I think from whether it's Character Strong or any other program, we certainly we always are looking at how we can get better and how we can sustain without having to and minimize our costs.
And the only other thing I ask of you is if we could have an audit of Crestwood because of what was in item number 8 with personnel leaving that position, if that's accurate, the bookkeeper.
We of course just completed had an audit there with our financial auditors there, but I'm certainly happy to sit down and we can look at internal controls and things that we have in place.
Yeah, I would feel a little bit better if you just went through that for me.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Any other questions? Okay. Recommend that you approve.
Recommendation?
Yes, I recommend that approve the bills and claims as presented.
Taking a motion to approve bills and claims. Made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Okay, the next we have several minutes to approve. Several minutes. For those that don't know, the board regularly or annually meets with every single school's SBDM. So we spend several nights knocking out 4 at a time, and we get a chance to sit down with every single school's SBDM and have a conversation, get to celebrate what's going on at each school. So we have a lot of minutes to approve, so hang in there with me. The first one is from January 23rd. That is our regular board meeting. Do I have any changes to those? Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. The next are SBDM board meetings from January 26th of 2023. Does anybody have any changes to that? Motion to approve, made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor, and that's 4-0. The next is January 30th, SBDM board meetings. Any changes to those? Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor, and that's 4-0. The next is February 2nd, SBDM board meetings. Any changes to that? Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor? That's 4-0. February 6th, SBDM board meetings. Any changes to that? Motion to approve, made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? That's 4-0. I'm just making sure, Joe. February 9th was a special called meeting. Any changes to those? Motion to approve, made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor? That's 4-0. February 9th, SBDM board meeting. Any changes or additions? Motion to approve, made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor? That's 4-0. February 13th was a special called work session. Any changes to that? Motion to approve, made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Whew. All right.
That was it?
That was it. That was a lot. Okay, next on personnel actions.
Yes, ma'am. Board members, in your packet, just present the personnel actions as presented, and happy to make a recommendation.
Okay, and your recommendation, sir?
Yes, ma'am. To take the report under advisement and direct the superintendent or secretary to include as part of the minutes of the meeting.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
You don't approve
Oh,
those.
well,
Should take under advisement.
thank you, sir. We will take that under advisement.
My apologies, Mr. Chair. Madam Chair, my apologies.
Quite all right. Okay, enclosures. We have several enclosures.
Yes, I recommend to the board consent items as presented, and would, if there's no discussion, I would recommend to the board to approve as presented.
I do have a question.
Mr. Dennis. Which one?
B10,
Okay.
is that really, this might be for Brian, is that really needed for the alternative school?
Yes, sir. They specifically requested.
Alright. Well, their search, that's why I didn't know that. Alright, I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay, your recommendation, sir?
Yes, recommend to approve.
Can I get a motion to approve, made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dodson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Super report, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to invite now for the board to consider a report from OSEF, the annual report, and looks like Ms. Babbage. I'm sorry, excuse me. I apologize. Come forward and share with the board.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, at the podium.
At the podium.
At the podium.
Yeah.
Hi. All right, it's very different. Normally I'm facing that way for Pyramid Awards, so wasn't prepared. So thank you for the opportunity to come and share. I'm Gina Babbitt. I was the Oldham County Educational Foundation President from 2020 through 2022. And so this annual report is for our 2021-2022 fiscal year. Just a reminder of our mission, which is to elevate the public educational experience for Oldham County Schools students by filling the funding gap between the available resources and the current need. So first, I just want to thank our board. We have an incredible board of directors who really we work really hard. It's a nonprofit, and many of our board members are full-time working presidents of companies, employees of companies, full-time volunteers, which is, what I consider myself. But we have a lot of great people who have students in the school system, but we also have graduates of Oldham County School on our board, which is exciting. One of our youngest members, and so it's nice to have that perspective and to have her on board. So, and also I'd like to give a thank you to Heather Peters. She is our board liaison, and she spends countless hours. She attends all of our meetings, all of our board meetings, and she really is great on giving leadership and direction in our board, and also with writing and obtaining grants, which come to OSEF, but everything that we do goes right into the school district, and it's K through 12 is what we try to aim for. So thank you to Heather, wherever she is. And so I would like to highlight just a few of our fundraisers. Fundraising is really important part of what we do, and I feel like when we're kind of venting or we're vetting a new fundraiser or older fundraiser, how can we make it better, we think about twofold. How can we fundraise but also give back to the community at the same time? So we want to fundraise that's something inside the community, but also we're raising money. And so two I'd like to talk about, one is Send Your Love, and that's one that we've had for several years, and it just gets better and better. This year that I'm talking about, we sold around 900, a little plus, 923. And this year we sold about 1,200. So that's continuing to gain momentum, and it's teachers, bus drivers, any staff member, administration. If you have any staff member inside of Oldham County, you're able to purchase a gift during Valentine's, and a percentage of that gift comes right back into OSEF, which goes right back into the district, but also is sent to someone special with a little note, and it's really great. The reception of that is wonderful, and we enjoy doing it. That's all, a lot of volunteer hours on our part, but we love it. So that continues to grow. This year we brought in a little over $3,000 for that, which was wonderful. So, but again, it's a give back. People are getting it inside the community, and then the money we receive goes back into the community as well, into our district, into our school system. Another one, which was a new one for this year, was the last day of school limo ride, which was very exciting. It was a new idea, and we had never done it before. And so we sold raffle tickets, and again, twofold. So a student won the raffle. They were able to choose their friends, and they went on the last day of school, were picked up by a limo, and were taken to have lunch and do a fun activity, and it was really special. I know that the father reached out and was really excited and said this was, his daughter was so excited to see this. So it feels really good to hear the impact that the actual fundraiser has, but knowing we also raised $4,832 to go back into the district. So those are two that I'll highlight, and we have others, obviously, that you could read in our annual report. And if anybody in the audience has more questions, please go to osefkentucky.org at osefky.org, and you can also read more about what we do there. So with all of the monies that we received through grants and through our fundraising, we were able to give the most in our 35-year history Pyramid Awards to teachers across the district. We were able to give 49 awards. Historically, we've only given at most 30. So it was really wonderful. We were able to give, as you can see there, $44,444.49. And it was amazing to give out 49 awards. They are able to apply for up to a $1,000 grant for their classroom, and it was amazing. We had a great participation in terms of applications, and we felt felt really good about it. It was an exciting year to be able, a big part of what we do when we're talking about elevating the educational experience for students, that there's no denying what our teachers play in that. And so we are very, when we think strategically about how can we also give back to teachers, and this is one of this is our capstone. This has been part of OSEF since day one 35 years ago. So that was very exciting. And another one I really want to talk about, when you're in the community and you have an opportunity to speak to different principals and families across the district, you realize, and teachers, you realize that mental health was huge coming out of. It's always been, as a social worker myself, I've always felt that mental health is important, but I feel like when COVID came, we all started to really lay eyes on how important mental health is for students across, and our kids just across our district, obviously everywhere. You see it everywhere, but our heart is here in Oldham County. So we were really excited with this opportunity to be able to purchase this program, which again was effective K through 12. And it provided not just training for guidance counselors K through 12, but also tangible items and materials that they're able to use with small groups, one-on-one, and that was really important. So we felt like that was a great way to give back. Again, guidance counselors help students, and when students are able to focus in class, that helps our teachers. So there's everything we do, we try to really utilize our finances and what we do really strategically. In our grants, we were able to, again, thanks to Heather, we were able to raise close to $100,000. In those grants, they support Camp Literacy Live and Pyramid Awards, Project Graduation, Biomedical Academy, engineering program here at Arvin, and Artists in Residence. So we feel like OSEF is very important. All of us on the board, we feel we're very passionate about Oldham County and the students in Oldham County and the teachers and all of the staff that support what we're trying to do here. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
so much. Do you have other OSEF members here that could stand up and be recognized?
Yes.
I see Nick Stevens back there.
We did. We have several. And there's Heather. Thank you. Thank you.
And for those that don't know, they have a wonderful bracket barbecue where someone comes and talks about filling out your brackets. And they have a bracket challenge, so please check out the website and get involved in that. It's a lot of fun.
It is ocefky.org.
And it all stays in Oldham County,
It does.
comes back to Oldham County. All of the things they did on the give back for Valentine's Day, those are Oldham County companies that they purchased from, and it all stays in OC, which is great. Thank you so much for your hard work, Gina,
Thank you.
and your board, and everyone that's a member of OSEF.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ms. Babbitt.
Thank you.
Sorry, Vern, thank you for being here. And to everyone at OSEF, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sir, next
Yes.
is exciting world of calendars.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to invite Mr. Michael Williams, our Director of People Personnel, to consider a report on FY24 calendar and FY25 major parades.
How are y'all this evening?
Good, how are you, sir?
Good. So the calendar committee has met, and Mr. Dotson is a member of our calendar committee as assigned by statute. We have met, and based on the recommendations from a variety of other committees that asked us to look at certain things, we are recommending a calendar that has 172 school days in it. There will be 6 early release days, and there will be 3 staff or teacher work days. It meets all the requirements that we have under statute. We will have 1,062 hours, which is required by law. We will also have the 100, again, we have to have a minimum of 170 school days. So with that being said, the highlights right now, the first day of school would be August 9th. Fall break would be the 23rd to the 27th of October of 2023. which you all had already set. Winter break was still up in the air, but we went back and looked at 7 years ago when we fell under this same sort of calendar. And so the break will run from the 18th of December to the 29th of December, and then you will also have January 1st off because that would be the national holiday. Spring break would be April 1st to April 5th, 2024. The 3 teacher work days would be October 19th, January 2nd, and April 8th. The 6 early release days would be September 1st, September 29th, November 21st, January 26th, February 15th, and March 5th. The last day of school, pending any snow days, would be May 24th of 2024. And under state statute right now, we are still under having to list 6 makeup days. That is a 5-year running average of however many snow days that we have missed in those 5 years. That's how many days we have to list. So at this point, we would have the makeup days designated as May 28th, May 29th, May 30th, May 31st, June 3rd, and June 4th. The committee also looked at the calendar for the 2024-2025 major breaks and identified the major breaks for fall break as the 21st to the 25th of 2024. Winter break would be the 23rd of December to the 3rd of January of 2025. And then spring break would be March 31st to April 4th of 2025. At this point, this is the recommendation. Ultimately, if you all have questions or concerns, we can look at those and address those, and then it would come back for your final approval next month.
Okay, right now, do any board members have any questions or see any issues or problems with this calendar?
I would just like to add 3 NTI days potentially, so we don't go into June. I know your concerns, Mr. Rafford, but as a board, I did not want to go into June potentially, so I'd like to suggest adding 3 NTI days.
What that likely would mean for our school district is, one, we would have to submit an application for the Department of Education to approve that, and then that also would require us as a school district to do a lot of work internally to make sure that we provide the best learning experience for every student, because of some challenges that we currently have of being one-to-one access to internet at home across our county, and being able to make sure that it's really good service for our students and our parents and community feel really good about it. So that's something that we can, I think our first step would be we'd have to apply for an application, and then we'd have some work to do to be prepared for that, because we're really talking about next January moving forward.
Thank you. Can I add something, Mr. Dennis? Yes, sir. That is actually not officially tied to approval of this calendar. It's a whole separate function. So the calendar stands alone from itself, and then the NTI days are a separate application that would fall under the state.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just for people at home that are, people in the audience that aren't looking at a calendar, I just want to point out that, for example, in October of 2023, our fall break would run the 23rd through the 27th. The Friday, the 20th, would be a PD day for teachers, so no kids in school, and the 19th leading up to it is a teacher work day. So we would have Thursday, Friday off, and then the following week for fall break. Wanted to point that out. Also wanted to point out, so there would be an early release day on the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. There'd be an early release day on Tuesday. A couple other highlights. Coming out of Christmas break, again, we've got a teacher work day on Tuesday, January 2nd, which all of the teachers asked for, and students would come back on January 3rd. Let's see, the February, we have off the 19th and the 16th, which is, the 19th is a Monday, the 16th leading up to that is a Friday, and that would be a PD day, no kids in school. The Thursday before that would be an early release day. Also, just to highlight, we all know how lovely it was when we dealt with the eclipse the last time. The next one is scheduled for April 8th, 2024, which is the Monday we come back from spring break
2 o'clock.
at 2 p.m. So we are taking a teacher work day on that day. There will not be kids in school. It will be a teacher work day. Buy your own glasses and have fun with your kids and go. I think viewing is what, in Indiana, I think is the best place to see it.
The best place to see it is from basically almost Paducah to Indianapolis.
There you go. Have fun. Take your kids on a trip on Monday the 8th. So just to let you all know. So those are a few highlights. I just wanted to let everybody know that ahead of time so that some of these early release dates might look wonky, but when you look at the calendar as a whole, they make a lot of sense. And the rest of them that aren't hooked up to a holiday off are all on Fridays. So thank you, Mr. Williams, and the calendar committee. Mr. Dodson, thank you for serving on it. And I know Ms. Morner is on it. Thank you, ma'am. And sorry if I missed anybody else that's in the audience that's on the calendar committee.
I don't think there's anybody else in the audience that's in the calendar committee.
I think it's a very family-friendly calendar, and I can tell you right now, the teachers are thrilled that they don't have to go to school up until December 22nd and then try to get their families ready for Christmas. So appreciate that, and we're just taking under recommendation, right? Okay. If anybody has any questions between now and next meeting, please ask Mr. Williams or Dr. Radford so that we can vote on it next meeting. So thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Next, I'd like to invite Ms. Six to come forward and share an update with the board about our priorities for our school district.
I'm reporting on 2 of the 4 priorities tonight, and one of them is the strategic planning update, systems of support. And as all of you know, we wrapped up our road shows this month, and many of you could probably present the road show, but it was a way that we had our faces with our faculty so that we could gather more information, and we appreciate you being our system of support as we went out and did those faculty road shows, took questions, and tried to listen to feedback that would impact future decision making. But our strategic planning work group met on February 1st. Studer Education also met with principals on the 8th of February to streamline the process for rolling out the school data. We wanted to make sure that it was all done in a similar way at each school and in each department so that there was a process to be followed. But upcoming, the district steering committee meets again on March 6th. The board will review our work from up to this point on the 13th. And after the review, an opportunity for additional feedback will be given to school and district communities so that they can then again tell us, what are we missing? What do we need to add or revise? And so that's just the month ahead. I would like to update the board on the literacy work group work, and that fits into world-class education. Our literacy work group met on February 20th. The agenda included a review and discussion of evidence-based programming for specifically Amplify and EL. We also discussed the need and usage of supplemental programming for phonemic awareness and phonics. We will consider the continued use of Haggerty in some of our schools, but we're also talking about the implementation of UFly, which is a program that's free, and we've ordered materials for the literacy work group to review at our next meeting on March 20th. So that's an update there. But also we discussed assessment, and as you know, assessment's a large focus of Senate Bill 9. We are currently meeting all requirements as outlined by the bill. We're going to continue to cover the cost of math reading fluency. Our contract was ending in February, so Dr. Smith has been working with Matt to extend that through the end of the year. We had some principals who asked, did it make the list? It did. But we still believe there are other pieces of reading that we want to assess and screen. So we're looking for an assessment that will help us with phonics and phonemic awareness. And so our schools would like to pilot 2 additional assessments, STAR and iReady. Both programs are on the KDE list, And we know that they're going to have pros and cons. And so we don't want to purchase anything as a district unless it's in the hands of teachers and being used by our teachers. So in the month of March, we hope to get the pilots going, and we want the support of those who would be implementing those. We don't want any kind of top-down decision-making there because that won't work in our schools. In terms of what we did next in our committee meeting, we discussed our district vision for literacy. What does high-quality literacy look like in our classrooms without naming a program? And we want to provide all the resource materials our teachers need, but we need to ensure that regardless of programming, our teachers know the next instructional moves to make with their students. So every student's needs are unique, and we want all teachers to feel confident in what they do when they teach English language arts. We must acknowledge that each school's in different stages of implementation. For example, at one school, they are implementing, and we know there might be a slight implementation dip this year, because when you implement a new curriculum, you sometimes take a dip in your achievement scores. One school is heavy into looking at Amplify and EL. They're visiting schools. They're talking to the reps from the companies. Other schools are happy with their current structure of their literacy program, and they are just looking for ways to supplement phonics and phonemic awareness. And so I want to assure you that we're in the buildings, we're in the classrooms. I know many of you are doing visits to our schools and learning about literacy instruction. We closed up our literacy work group with commitments and a vision for literacy. And so I'd just like to share the draft with you and know that it still needs some work. But what we want to commit to as a district is this. All students in Oldham County elementary schools will receive explicit, systematic instruction in the 5 components of literacy: phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. We want our students to receive differentiated instruction through the Kentucky Academic Standards using high-quality instructional resources, evidence-based programming. And we want to ensure that engaging instruction is delivered to explicitly teach students how to listen, read, write, and speak across genres and content areas to effectively communicate. So, that's a lot of words, but that's what we want to commit to. But our vision would be, ultimately, we strive to foster a love of literacy while equipping students with the skills and knowledge to be independent readers, writers, thinkers, and communicators. And so that's where we're headed. It's very draft, but I feel like we're in a great place, and we're moving forward with next steps. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. What was the free program you mentioned?
You Fly.
Fly.
And it's from Florida. Okay. And we have ordered materials for some schools to review and the literacy work group.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
It's free, and it's on the green list.
I saw that we sent people to training on the current bills for reading recovery. Are we going to still use that as a tool? Because when I visited the schools, I saw everything being used. And I do like having multiple tools in case one don't work. But are we still going to do that?
I think what we need to know first, and we probably will not know until after legislative session, is if there will be a university training center that is linked to reading recovery. If you do not have a university training center attached, you cannot officially be called reading recovery. At any rate, our teachers are well trained, and I think up to this point, all except one interventionist is trained in both reading recovery, Orton Gillingham. The final one will be trained this summer. What we're getting better at is knowing which students to put in which programs. And that's the training piece that's most important. So, we are open to full training for all of our teachers, all of our interventionists, and it's not about programs.
Thank you.
Anything else? I would just like to say, You all did 20 road shows total, I think? 24. I think I went to 14 of them, and I would like to say thank you to Dr. Radford, Dr. Smith, Ms. Six, and Mr. Deves for the presentations that they gave to all of our faculties at every single school, Kappa, Arvin, preschool, Buckner Alternative. Everybody has heard it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the survey results, they did not shy away from it. They took hard questions from our staff, and they made changes to the calendar. They made changes to things that we're going to vote on tonight. As they went to road shows and listened to our faculty and staff say, please don't take our 3 teacher work days. We don't take it down to 1. So the calendar committee took that into consideration and put 3 back in there. I want to commend Dr. Radford and Dr. Smith and Charla and Brent for going in front of every single one, taking the hard questions, listening to them, making changes as we went to attempt as best as possible to make our staff happy that they are at Oldham County. And it meant a lot. I saw some of the feedback. I got some emails from principals and staff on it saying that they appreciated it and did not feel like it was quote unquote just lip service. And I just want to say thank you personally as a parent and also as a board member for you all going out and listening and taking the hard questions. And they were hard. No, trust me. You think people get in front of them and are afraid to say something? They are not at all. So I just want to say I appreciate it and appreciate you all taking the time to do it as a board member. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair Huntley, and I appreciate our board and our team and the work that everyone has done, because we really have worked hard to try to just connect and listen and to our staff and just show appreciation and be prepared to take appropriate action. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. Next, we have the fun of recognitions. So, sir, if you'd like to come down front.
Yes, ma'am.
And
At this time, we'll recognize our KMEA choir and our community partners. Wait just a few more moments. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I first want to recognize our KMEA All-State Choir. We are proud of our high school students who auditioned and were selected for the KMEA All-State Choir. Earlier this month, they performed at the Kentucky Center for the Arts with other top singers from all over the state. These students have the best voices in the state, and we have a lot of talent to celebrate tonight. So first, I'd like to recognize the students from Oldham County High School. I'll read off your name, and at the end, if we could, we'll give a big round of applause and recognize these students. First is Joshua Acree, Anna Barrazo, Leah Bukis, Lexi Brown, Bella Date, Elizabeth Grant, Ava Lindeman, Stella McCoomer, Eliza Markham, Angelica Mendoza, Keaton Page, Evelyn Powers, Brady Reed, Hannah Richards, Clarissa Solorio, Bryce Thornton, Caleb Wolfenbarger, Katie Young, and also Claire Ziegler. Any of those students here? Please come forward. My apologies, students. Please come forward. As the students are coming forward and getting their certificates, what the superintendent should have also said is when I call your name, please come forward and we'll give you your certificate. So my apologies, students. As we hand these out, please come up front. We'll take a quick picture, okay?
Standing up and so not many pictures.
Thank you. Okay, next, from North Oldham High School, as I call your name, please come forward and we'll give you recognize you and we'll take a group photo. Kate Brodsky, Caleb Clayton, Liam Klingerman, Caroline Cothran, Cecilia Johnson, Mega Matthew, Mara Passmore, and Scarlett Thacker. Please give them a big hand. Next, from South Oldham High School, as I call your name, please come forward and we'll like to recognize you and take a group photo. Jackson Bean, Catherine Bednar, Annalise Dawson, Melanie Donnelly, Allie Hughes, Noah Larson, Hannah Legg, Matthew Lecomber, Maya Mezgel, Austin Moorman, Rachel Partington, and Jake Walter. Please give them a big hand. Give them another hand, please. All right, next I'd like to recognize Oldham County Schools Community Heroes. We want to take this time to honor a couple of community members who arranged the donation of over 800 sheets of poster board to Oldham County Schools. Kathleen and Dale Line were at a scout meeting when someone mentioned they had multiple pallets of poster board to donate. The Lines immediately threw thought of the school district and multiple ways we could use them. After a few phone calls and emails, over 800 poster boards were delivered all over the district. Our students and teachers are looking forward to using them for various projects, including building a city for drone competition, framing artwork, STEAM projects, art, and much more. Please help me recognize Kathleen and Dale Lyon. Please come forward. As a token of our appreciation, we have a small gift for you, so we just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you. It's actually 8,000 sheets, not even.
8,000?
8,000.
I'm sorry, that's 8,000 sheets, not 800 sheets, so thank you very much. Give them another hand, please. All right, this concludes our recognition portion of this evening. And thank you for coming. If any of you are here just for the recognition portion, if you'd like to leave, you certainly can do so at this time.
We're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and then next up we will have our student showcase for Kenwood Station. Or do we want to do Kenwood Station real quick? Sorry. Let's do Kenwood Station. Sorry. Yes. We'll do Kenwood Station, and then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll do public expression and action items after that. Kenwood Station, come on down, Mr. Grace.
Nothing like giving the new principal student showcase. Thank you very much. Well, good evening. My name is Jen Grace, principal at Kenwood Station, and I am very proud to welcome our STEM teacher, Ms. Shyrock, and 8 of our outstanding Tigers who are here and very excited to share with you some of their learning that they've been doing in STEM class this school year. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and they have a presentation to share. So, is your pretty first?
Yes, I am. She does, but I don't know where it
She's
is.
probably in the Arvin Center break room. Lori would be my guess.
Try one of those openings, one of those programs like Lori.
KSE.
There we go.
The little desk at the bottom. Oh, we don't need the speakers now?
Let's see. Where do you have your close?
Click and slideshow
And
at the top.
where? Oh, there.
And then if you go to slideshow at the top.
You've got it on.
Good.
It's still doing that flat.
Jane, we told them not to touch your stuff.
We're trying to just make it do full screen. We're so used to Google, we're not used to seeing PowerPoint. There we go.
All right. Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Emily Shryock, and I am the STEM teacher this year at Kenwood Station. For the past 7 or 8 years, I've been in the 4th grade role. So as a 4th grade teacher, and also on our SEDM, I noticed that there was a decline in our science scores, and my passion, I grew up with a dad that was MacGyver, so I wanted to be a modern day MacGyver and teach students how to be innovative and creative and just to harness their skill set, whether it be in technology or engineering, or you just have a very strong Lego enthusiast, but it's been a great, positive addition to Kenwood this year. I have students from every grade level that would like to speak to you, and they're going to go down the row, each grade level with the letters of STEM and an activity that we've been working on in the STEM class. You ready, Savion? Gabrielle? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Cameron. Okay. Hi, my name is Gabrielle. I am in kindergarten. Mrs. Hanky is my teacher. Hi, my name is Savion, and I am in first grade. My teacher is Miss Norris. In STEM, we are learning about food chains. We are also learning about ecosystem. Do you know what a predator is? A predator is the animal that is hungry and wants a snack. The snack is the prey. The prey is the animal being hunted. We are learning about food chains and how energy moves. All food chains start with the sun. Plants get their energy from the sun through photosynthesis.
Good job.
Good afternoon. My name is Deedan, and I'm a 5th grader at Kenwood Station Elementary. I am in Miss Jane's class.
Hi, my name is Nolan. I'm in Nolan's class. In Miss Iona's class, and I'm a 5th grader.
We are currently learning about how drones and STEM. We have completed our flight school and learned how to fly drone simulations.
We completed a medical delivery and an agriculture analysis. Did you know that drones are improving our ecosystem?
We learned about how drones are crop dusting only the infected parts of the field, which leads to less parasites introduced into the environment.
My favorite thing about drones was using the camera.
My favorite part about the drones was the creative obstacles that Ms. Schrock made specifically for the kids at Kenwood Station.
Drones have many uses in the world. Now I'm going to talk about military from the war across the seas. Drones are really good at spying because they can hover, unlike spy planes. Also, drones are really good at shipping, like medical supplies across to Africa.
Also, drones have a huge part of the hospice cares or the Make-A-Wish people.
Yeah, when you get older, and you want to die, and you want to see places that you can't go, drones are used to like a camera, so you can see those places.
Hello, my name is Phoebe and I am in 3rd grade at Kenwood Station. My 3rd grade teacher is Miss Ames. During our coding unit, we learned coding basics by using our Code and Go My Toolbox.
Hi, my name is Lowen. I am also in 3rd grade. My teacher is Miss Ghost.
After the mice, we learned how to code using our Wonder Workshop Dash robots. The final robot that we learned to code was a Sphero.
Once we mastered coding, we were tasked with designing a maze that we could code one of our 3 robots through successfully. We could work as collaborative groups and choose our own medium. I made a dominoes maze with Abby in my class. We had to use problem solving to successfully code in our Code and Go mouse through it without error.
Building a maze can be tricky. You have to plan multiple steps ahead. Plus, you have to then code your robot through a maze without running into a wall or knocking over an obstacle. We practice patience and problem solving.
All right, last but not least, our
Hi, my name is Ava. I am in the 2nd grade. This is Tyler. He's in the 2nd grade with me. We're both in Miss Carter's class. We recently did a unit on data and graphics.
Ms. Shar taught us how to use data and graphics. Data is a fancy word to use in Ms. Shar taught us how to use data and graphics. Data is a fancy word for information. We had to survey our classmates to gather data. We had to come up with a question to ask our classmates. My question was whether you like Ninjago or Jurassic World. My classmates like Jurassic World, but my favorite's Ninjago.
We took our survey data and turned them into different types of grass. We made bar grass and picket grass. My survey was, what is your favorite drink? My dad showed me that my classmates were root beer. It's so good.
In this unit, I learned data and graphing can show me what others like and dislike. I can also learn it is okay to have different opinions. Which do you prefer, Ninjago or Jurassic World?
All right. I did bring a drone, so the Teledrones are new to Oldham County this year. And my PLC, we've been working on developing curriculum for the drones, Teledrones that Ms. White had purchased for us through a grant. So I brought a drone, if any of the board members would be brave enough to try out an obstacle.
Joe, that seems like a you thing.
I have so many broken up.
Joe, that's a no for us.
Okay.
But thank you.
All right.
That looks fantastic. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 6:13. Next on our agenda is public expression, and we're going to read the policy first. Mr. Dodson, if you don't mind.
Okay, the public and the news media are permitted to attend all open meetings of the board. No person may be required to give identification in order to attend any meeting. Exception: the chairperson may impose conditions upon attendance at a given meeting only if such conditions are required for the maintenance of order. The board as a whole shall have the final decision to the appropriateness of all rulings under public comment period. Each regular meeting shall include a public comment period of at least 15 minutes. Any board rules and policies regarding conduct during the school board meeting shall apply during the public comment period. Individuals or groups should contact the office of the superintendent prior to the next scheduled meeting in order to be considered for inclusion on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the board must first be recognized by the chairperson. Persons who wish to address the agenda and agenda items should seek recognition at the time the board considers that particular item. Persons who wish to address the board on a non-agenda concern are asked to seek recognition from the chairperson at the presentation item on the agenda. Speakers. The chairperson may require the name and address of the speaker. The chairperson may rule on the relevance of a topic to the board agenda. The chairperson may establish time limits for speakers as may be required to maintain order and ensure expedient conduct of the board's business. The board as a whole shall have the final decision as to the appropriateness of all rulings. Non-agenda issues, the board will not take official action on non-agenda issues introduced by the public in the meeting at which they are first introduced.
Okay, board, we have 6 people that are, have signed up for public expression. Do I have a recommendation for time? 3 minutes? Is that okay?
Yeah, if they go over, maybe we just extend it there.
Okay. All right, 3 minutes. The first person on the list tonight is Rosa Johnson Oaks.
Hello, my name is Rosa Johnson Oaks. I am a parent of a PTP student. PTP parents were recently notified of program changes. Because conflicting information is circulating, I've requested that voting be postponed until parents can attend a public informational meeting. Gifted students are already an underserved, understaffed, and underfunded population at our schools. I have serious concerns about the elimination of the only 2 trained gifted educators that serve 300 students in our PTP program. Their elimination sends a clear message that the district does not value or prioritize gifted education. Gifted students deserve to be challenged at their level. They need access to a wide range of services to reach their full potential. This includes direct, pull-out services where they spend time with similar peers. The teachers and staff are already overwhelmed, and they cannot be expected to handle gifted instruction next year. Gifted education should not be an ancillary responsibility of administrators. Gifted coordinators should be dedicated and should serve as full-time gifted coordinators. Cutting the number of gifted educators directly impacts the quality and delivery of services provided to gifted students, regardless of whether the program continues next year. These cuts may achieve budgetary goals, but they do not further the mission of gifted education. The current ratio of 2 for 300 is already too high. Funding for district raises should not come at the direct expense of student education. I moved to Oldham County specifically based on the academic reputation. I can tell you that as a parent of a gifted student, I am disappointed with the quality of education, and it has been a struggle at every step of the way to give my son the services that he needs. Gifted education is not prioritized, and it should be. It should be the same as special education. Gifted education does not get federal funding. Gifted education is not prioritized. Given the serious consequences for students, the lack of clarity, and general confusion, I respectfully request that the vote is postponed until a public informational meeting can be arranged. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Shannon Jones is next.
Hello, I'm Shannon Jones, and I'm a gifted and talented certified teacher and coordinator, and have been a primary talent pool district resource teacher here for the past 12 years. I am here today to ask you to please not restructure the PTP program to the school level. Our district PTP program is unique and is one of the things that draws families to Oldham County. With dedicated district programming by trained professionals in the gifted and talented field, all of our PTP students across all 9 schools have an equitable experience. The same lessons, the same qualified teachers, the same amount of time, the same opportunities. Our department consists of only 2 teachers, and we serve over 300 students, as Mrs. Oaks said. KDE regulation requires that multiple service delivery options are offered each student in the PTP. It was interesting because today I was at the Kentucky Gifted Educators Conference, and I was in a session where we discussed the law at length, and there were representatives from counties who did not have a district PTP program who were failing in compliance or were close to failing in compliance of meeting the law, and they were discussing that they needed to start district PTP programming, and we're talking about taking it away. Through district services, we meet the law by teaching high-level thinking skills based on the National Gifted Standards in a pull-out program. We also teach social-emotional lessons, which is one of the service delivery options. We provide consultation and collaboration to classroom teachers who have PTP students to help them differentiate. My colleague Natalie Pollitt was just hired in November, or she just started in November, and has been doing an excellent job of this already in the 3 short months that she's been here. I run the Edge Saturdays Enrichment Program, where students take classes of their choice, such as cooking and Lego engineering, and in which 170 of our students participated this year. Over 75 high school students volunteer, and they get their beta and NHS hours through this program. And I am currently writing college recommendation and scholarship recommendation apps for these high schoolers. We offer family game nights as a community service option, and this is at the end of the year for all of our PTP families to come together and learn the brain games that their children play as part of their PTP curriculum. In addition, my colleague Natalie and I conduct all the testing for PTP. Last year we tested 330 students, and this year we're hoping to test more to increase our numbers in PTP. We also screen all 830 of our kindergartners this year in creativity and every year. And we also contribute significantly to the gifted and talented portfolios. We write pieces for our 3rd graders, and we were able to present the Gifted and Talented Committee at the district level with evidence of how our PTP kids perform in PTP, which helps them make their decisions for GATES. And about 50% of our kids go into GATES as 4th graders. And then, as you know, GATES increases every year, so probably a higher percentage ends up in GATES.
Ms. Jones, your time's up.
Yes.
Could you wrap it up?
Yes. I just want to say all of this would be a tremendous responsibility to put on our schools. Edge Saturdays coordination alone takes months, and please do not take away the comprehensive, equitable services provided by district qualified staff for an entire population of students whose specific needs matter just as much as every other child's needs in this district, and whose services are required by law. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Penelope McCollum is next.
Hi, my name is Penelope McCollum. My husband and I are parents of 3 girls. 2 of them are 6th grade, 4th grade, who are currently in GATES and have benefited from PTP. And our last girl is a 1st grader who is enjoying her 1st year of PTP. And our girls have loved, and our last one is loving her experience in PTP. And because of PTP, they've grown academically and creatively. However, I am here due to my concern about the change considered for PTP from an established, successful model that employs professionally qualified teachers to a different model that does not identify who will provide enriching activities for PTP students, nor specify how they will be provided. Per KRS 157.230, school districts are required to operate programs for resident exceptional children primary through grade 12. And if you look up the statute, it goes into talking about talent pool students, which would encompass our PTP students. And it also addresses that 75% of a district's gifted education allocation shall be used to employ properly certified personnel to provide direct instructional services. But as a parent and community member, not knowing about how the PTP gets its budget, I cannot speak as to whether that budget applies to PTP or not, but I just want to make that aware that it's in the law. Also, the state funding, besides requiring that the proper personnel administer and teach the program, that these activities are significant and enriching. And so currently, as the other folks have spoken before me, there are only 2 trained teachers for 300 Oldham County students. And so from my position as an Oldham County parent who moved here from Jefferson County, attracted to the draw of these, to the draw of the quality of education here, I am, I would say, at least disappointed that there is discussion of withdrawing the only 2 teachers for 1st through 3rd grade PTP students. And so before changing to this new model, I would encourage the board to submit a survey to current Oldham County school parents, especially those of PTP students, and also to explore other sources for funding that do not take away from our current teachers. Because if you could see what my children are like, my 6th grader is on academic team. She has straight A's. She's a wonderful, bright kid who does lots of things. And so is my 4th grader, my 1st grader. And so I really want to keep one of the bright aspects of Oldham County here for our students, our PTP and future GATE students. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa DeLu is next.
Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Teresa DeLu. I don't have a child in the gifted program. One of my adult children years ago was a very gifted, and it was hard. People might think, well, you have a smart child, not have any academic problems, but it was very stressful to keep him engaged. Some of the behaviors, he would get bored. He would just scribble on tests because he wasn't challenged. And when I asked him why, he's like, I know that already, I'm tired. So, you know, I don't have one in the gifted program, but it's, I would not take it away from the kids. They need to be challenged at every level that they're on. So that's with that. The other one, and I know I brought it up several times, but it's keeping the parents out of the school. What I'm dealing with, it's more than the lunch issue, but I asked, did an open request on the safety risk that parents and grandparents pose to the Oldham County schools. She said, as I stated before, information you have requested is not searchable or available. So I don't know where else I can get that. I guess what I'm trying to think, if it's for safety, then it needs to be for safety. You don't bend the rules, oh, because we need parents to do this for us, so we're going to let them be safe and then not safe. And I know I've said it before. Also, I called a school and they're still using COVID to keep parents out. Well, if that's the case, then I think the schools need factual evidence why they're keeping the parents out of school. Why the lunches, or they go have breakfast with them, maybe walk the kindergartners to their class the first day. If they're going to make these rules, fine, but they need to have rules that can't be broken. You either do it or you don't. You know, if some parents can't go past the lobby for lunch, then no one go past the lobby, period, for any reason. You know, not teachers, and you know, but so there needs to be some kind of guidance there. You know, okay, the school, I don't know if the school has volunteers that's doing COVID, but if they're keeping parents out because of COVID, then they need to keep volunteers out too. I mean, it can't be, well, we're gonna have this rule, but we're gonna break it or bend it when we need it to be bent. So I think there needs to be some guidance to it, that's it, okay? Thank you.
Can I just ask you?
Yeah.
So what are you wanting to come into school and do that you've been
Well,
told
no,
you can't?
I just want to come in and have a normal lunch with my granddaughter like we did before COVID.
So your definition of a normal lunch is in the cafeteria with the kid?
Right, I mean, because she could sit there with her friends, and we've done it for years. I mean, we lost a lot of leeway. Not too old of a parent, but I mean, we had a lot. We were able to interact, and a lot of that has been taken away. And I was okay with that. I'm like, okay, it's for safety. I'll sit in the lobby on the bench and have lunch with my granddaughter. We actually have a fun time. But then when the rules bend because they need parents to supervise, then I'm like, wait a minute, if it's safety, then make it about safety. Don't go back and forth when it fits a need, you know?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, I understand if they want to say safety, I'll eat in the lobby. But then it needs to be there, you know? That line doesn't need to be broken for whatever reason they want it to be broken for.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you.
Ann Cannon is next. Oh, okay. Ron, I think it's Ron, last name starts with an N.
You don't know, Ron? Not everybody knows.
Officer Dennis knows me, he'll probably have me arrested if I know him, but that's how I know him though. I'm Ron Mann, I am a bus driver for Oldham County, okay, been here 4 years, okay? I'm into my 4th year, and I've had perfect attendance as far as my bus being on the road, okay? I was here 7 months ago in August, and I asked the board then, how many of you all have ever been on a school bus with 60 kids or so? And has anybody outside of Superintendent Bradford been on one? Because I heard he's been on one this year. Anybody else been on one?
I have not. I have not.
Okay, all right, nobody else has. So that has not changed at all. Okay, well, what I want to know is, and why I'm here today, I've got a lengthy thing, but I'll cut it short because I like to talk about more. But I have incidents on my bus, which I try to handle myself without going through the school staff or my staff at the bus compound, okay? One was mishandled a few weeks ago when I had 2 students get involved in an altercation, which I completely forgot about. I addressed it on the school bus, but it was brought up to me on a Wednesday afternoon, okay, that these 2 kids could not sit together. And I said, they've never sat together. All year long, they've never sat together. But it had to do with another seat and another student, and he was a boy, he blew his top. And, you know, so I addressed it. But then I was told over by the radio that these 2 could not sit together and their names. I did not like the way that was handled, and I stood on it from Thursday night till Monday when I talked to Jeff about it in his office. And he told me, he apologized to me and said that was wrong. It went about the wrong way. It was just supposed to tell you to call me so I could explain the situation to you. So we handled that. Now what I'm here for now is, I want to know who takes a pay cut during their daily job to do the same job. How many of you all take a pay cut during the day to do a daily job? Anybody in here take a pay cut? All right. Well, this is my concern now. And I need to get with Jeff, need to get with Mr. Deves, and talk about this, and I need to get to you all and see if we can set up something. It has to do with field trip pay. Okay? That's top. We get cut, no matter what our salary is, to $14.50. From what I've been told, we are the highest tax county in the state. I don't know if that's true or not. It might not be, I'm just saying. But it seems they give this rate of $14.50 for the parents to pay for the field trip. Okay? But then why are we penalized for that. I know that we drive maybe an hour, 2 hours, and then we sit there. But our pay and our time is worth something besides $14.50. And I want to sit down and discuss it with these gentlemen, with you all, to see if we can come up with some type of better budget than that, is what it amounts to, higher pay. Because no driver making $26 an hour is going to take a $12 pay cut. And this last one come up with me about 3 weeks ago, had to do with a field trip during the same incidents I just talked about. And they were a shorter driver. My dispatcher talked to me. I said, I'm not doing it. You know where I stand on this. And she said, will you do a shuttle run? Same pay as my bus driver. I said, yeah, no problem. She took her 8 drivers to go through to find a driver that would do it. And that's what I'm saying. These drivers do not like taking that kind of pay cut.
Gotcha.
And that's what I feel needs to address, to raise it up to a decent wage. I know we sit, and I understand that. I talked to a Shelby County bus driver at the last field trip I did. She said, they won't cut our pay. Now, some counties will cut your pay after you get there and you sit, but while you're driving that bus, you get your regular salary.
I understand.
So that's what I'm saying. To me, it needs to be discussed.
Okay, well,
Okay?
your time is up, Mr. Mayor.
I know it's up, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that to our
But
attention.
it just needs to be talked about and discussed.
Well, thank you,
And that
sir.
way more drivers will get the chance to possibly help out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ron.
Appreciate it. Okay. That is the end of our list for public expression. Next, sir, we have several action items to go over.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something about PTP?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We'll talk about that in one of our action items.
Okay. So, our first action item is F, consider approval of job consolidations and new positions. Do you have a motion, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I recommend to approve of the job consolidations and new positions as presented.
Do I have any questions from the board on that?
Which action item is that?
Yeah.
It's F.
What I can share with the Board of Education and everyone in the audience tonight, or appreciate everyone who's spoken about primary talent pool. There's nothing in our action items tonight asking the board to cut any programs that would impact students and their learning. And so we've looked across all departments in our district and how we could provide the best service and support and maximize our resources. The other thing I would share with our board is that we've heard about primary talent pool, and I've spoken to some of our parents and greatly appreciate the concern that they brought forward. We plan and expect to be able to expand the opportunity, access and opportunity to all students in primary grades up to 3rd grade and still provide all the services that are still available currently and going into next year. I know that there's some misinformation about enrichment activities, as you heard tonight, that we would not be provided. We will still provide those.
Any other questions? Your recommendation, sir?
Yeah, recommend to approve.
On action item F, do I have a recommendation or a motion? Larry makes a motion, Mr. Dodson, do I have a second? Ms. Clem, all those in favor? All those opposed? And that's 3-1. Next, sir?
Yes, consider approval of salary schedule changes and updates. And what I would suggest or recommend to the board is we take each of those one at a time.
Okay. So the first one is looking at staffing ratios in schools. Do you have a recommendation, or board have any questions? Your recommendation, sir?
Yeah, recommend to approve the SBDM staffing ratios for FY24 as presented.
Do I have a motion to approve? Made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dotson. All those in favor? That's 3, and opposed? That's 3-1. Next is an approval of a 2% increase for all salaries on all staff salary schedules for the 23-24 school year, plus step in accordance with state regulations and following our district salary schedules. Anybody have any questions about that?
I would make one note to our board that I just want to highlight that as of today, our projected enrollment for next year is decreasing compared to 18-19, which is what we've been funded at. So that is an additional loss of $1 million when we think about losing 300 students, because we've been funded for the last several years on 18-19 enrollment, and that number is 300 students less. So that's something that we have to take into account when making that, and that's where my recommendation falls with the salary increase as presented, with the 2% increase plus step for all Oldham County Schools employees.
So just to be clear for everyone, because of COVID, schools in the state of Kentucky have been funded with 2018-2019 attendance numbers. So ever since 2018-2019, each year we have been funded based on the numbers that we had in 2018-2019, including the current school year that we're in. Starting in the fall of next year, we will be funded at this year's current attendance numbers, which is right now we're 300 kids less than we were in 18-19, which is the equivalent of $1 million. So I just want to explain that for anyone that doesn't understand average daily attendance and how that works. So our funding will be $1 million less next year from the state. So salary increase, do you have a recommendation, sir?
Yes, recommend to approve.
Do you have a motion to approve? Made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dotson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next item is on personal days for staff. And this is going to change, this is rolling over, right? Okay. Okay, perfect. Do you have a recommendation, sir?
Yes, I recommend to approve the change of board policy 50/50 leave policies, section 5050.04, which is in regards to sick days and personal leave.
Okay, so currently, if you don't use your personal days, you lose them. We went to, like I said, I attended several road shows. All of us attended several road shows. And we would like to amend, I would like to amend the motion that takes effect immediately, that for this current school year, if you have not used personal days, they can roll over to sick days if you have not used them yet. That was something that we heard from staff and from our principals that they would support. So I would like to amend that. Do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Dennis makes a motion to approve. Mr. Dotson makes a second. All those in favor, and that's 4-0, so that goes into effect immediately tonight. Next, sir, are changing annual leave.
Yes, ma'am. So approval of change to board policy 5054, non-working days, section 5054.01. The general provisions number 3, which is 260-day classified, their vacation leave changes. I would recommend to the board to approve that.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, sir.
Yes, approval of change to MAG unified salary schedule for category 102 and 103 employees.
And your recommendation?
Recommend to approve.
Do I have a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dotson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, sir, salary schedule.
Yes, ma'am. Approval of new salary schedule for positions beyond the classroom teacher.
Any questions on that? Motion to approve, made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dawson. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Approval of creation of new board policy for criminal history record information. I would just make a quick note that the board heard about this at last month's meeting, which is just creation of a new policy that we are required to have.
Any questions? In your motion, sir?
Yeah, recommend to approve.
I have a motion to approve, made by Mr. Dodson, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, sir, hardship graduation. Do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend to approve.
There's 2 of these. Any questions? Recommendation to approve, made by Mr. Dodson, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, we have tentative SBDM allocations. Your recommendation, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Recommend to approve.
Any questions?
Is this based on what I voted no for earlier, the staffing ratios, item 1?
Let me find which. Aye. Okay. No, this is in regard to their SBDM allocation that is monetary. So our Board of Education really looks to maximize the dollar amount allocated to each SBDM council in terms of monies.
I think it's based on enrollment.
Based on student enrollment.
I'm good with it. I just saw the
Sure.
item number 1 under it. I wanted
Sure.
to be sure.
It's different than item 1.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, your recommendation, sir?
I recommend to approve.
I have a motion to approve, made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next, winter break. Recommendation, sir?
Yes, ma'am. As you heard this evening about winter break, I would recommend to approve.
This is for the 2023-2024 school year because we had already approved fall break and spring break, but not winter break. Any questions? Your recommendation, sir?
Yes, recommend to approve.
Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor, and that's 4-0. Next, sir, is, sorry, there's a lot on here. Consider approval of auditor's report for fiscal year 22. We had that at the last board meeting. Board members, do you have any questions? Your recommendation, sir?
Recommend to approve.
Can I get a recommendation for a motion to approve made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mr. Dodson? All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next is consider approval of the audited annual financial report for fiscal year 22. Any questions by board members? Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next are the consider approval of architect selection and BG1 for the central office renovations and site improvement project. Any questions? Your recommendation, sir?
Recommend to approve.
Can
Oh,
get-
I do have a
oh,
question.
Here we go.
Do we own that property or lease it? Central office?
We own.
All right, thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dodson, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Next is consider approval of the BG1, BG2, BG3 forms and construction documents for the South Oldham High School shop renovation project, which I believe is tied into what Ms. Woosley was speaking about earlier on making a welding shop. So any questions from the board? Can I get a recommendation to approve? Or, I'm sorry, do you have a motion, sir?
Yes, recommend to approve.
Motion made by Ms. Clem, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor, and that's 4-0. Sorry, hold on. Oh, here it is, sorry. Consider approval for the BG1 for the district-wide landscape and site improvement projects 2023. Do we have any questions or? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Red.
I'd just like to share with the board, as you heard about the previous project with district office, this is indirectly connected to this approval for across the district. We want to elevate, we want to build on our strengths and elevate our district campuses across our district when it comes to whether it be landscaping, parking lots. We've done some work, but we want to continue, we want to do more because we want to elevate our school district and be able to think about being world-class and being on that pathway. We have the opportunity to do that.
And your recommendation, sir?
Recommend to approve.
So motion to approve. Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor, and that's 4-0. Next, sir, preschool.
Yes. So just recommend that the board take that as presented.
And also the energy usage report is on there as well for us to review. And Mr. Dodson, would you like to read?
Okay. Consider executive session on litigation pursuant to KRS 1C and 1F. At this time, I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the following matters. Enter into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, 1C to discuss litigation strategy and potential resolution of pending threatened claims, the public disclosure of which jeopardize the board's position, and pursuant to KRS 61.810, 1F for discussion which might lead to the dismissal of an individual employee.
Can I get a motion to go into executive session, please? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor, and that's 4-0. For return from executive session, it is 7:52 p.m. Is there any action coming out of executive session?
Yes, I move to authorize the chair and superintendent to execute a settlement agreement with former General Counsel Ann Corson, incorporating the terms discussed in executive session.
Do I have a motion or a second? Mr. Dennis makes a second. All those in favor? That's 4-0. And can I have a motion to adjourn our meeting? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Ms. Clem. All those in favor? And that's 4-0.